is Carla with Cardboarding with Carla and Weird Giraffe Games, and I am here today to talk about the process of going from receiving a pitch to a final decision. This was suggested by John Valorant on Twitter, so thank you, John, for suggesting this topic because he said it wasn't something that a lot of publishers really went into, like the process of why did they decide to sign that game versus a different game, or like what the process is really like. So starting out, I have a list on my website weirddraftgames.com of what I want in a game so that I can get games pitched to me that fulfill that criteria, because I want to make it easy for you to give me games that I like. Okay? If a publisher does not have something on their website, you could easily just send them an email and ask them what they're looking for. That will like make it better for you, because you can pitch them the game out of your catalog that they'll most like, and it's better for them because you're not just saying like, hey, take all my games, they're all fantastic, and then you make the publisher like scour through like a bunch of different games, and like it's a lot better to ask and to know who you're pitching to. So if you're pitching to me at Weird Draft Games, read through my list and you'll know that I don't want Take That. I'm looking for like light to medium games. I like different themes, thematic games. Like I'm looking for something that is very like, it's not everything. So please don't pitch everything to me. And if you, like, I get a lot of pitches. If you pitch me something and you're like, hey, this fits your criteria, but it has a lot of Take That, I'm like, thanks for reading my criteria, but I don't like Take That, so it's not a fit. So start the pitch out really well. If you do send me pitches like that, I remember things like that. Make sure that you put appropriate things on them. Like me specifically, I don't like to be called sir. I like to be called Carla. And I expect that a lot of other small publishers also like to be called by their name or by their company, but something specific that says you're not mass emailing people, because no one likes to get a mass email because you're like, oh, you aren't specifically talking to me, so the game is probably not a specific fit for me. You're just pushing it out to everyone. So make sure that pitch is actually a good one. So for all the games that I've signed 5 games so far. They've been with people that actually know me, that address me, that I know are really good to work with. So, like, especially with small publishers, you can't just, treat them like they're big and huge. Like, you have to treat them like they're a person and that you know them, because they want to work with people that are good to work with. So, going forward, you do that pitch. You might say, hey, let's meet up at Gen Con. And then we go and we meet up at Gen Con. And we sit down somewhere and you start talking about your game. I typically do not like to have like the 5-10 minute spiel on games, because they're nice. They're nice to have, but they're like a sell sheet. Where a sell sheet, you can just, if you're good at sell sheets, you can make it look really good. But how do you tell if a game is good from like a 5-minute pitch or a sell sheet? Like, for me, I don't know. I've said yes to sell sheets, and then I've gotten the game, and then I'm like, whoa, this is not a fit at all. Like, the words sounded so pretty, and then I don't know what happened. It didn't match with the gameplay. So you have to like actually play the game. I love like actually playing the game and seeing how a turn works, because one of the things that I really like are short turns. I like short turns that are meaningful. So I can only know that by actually playing through the game. So when we're playing through the game, I see how it works. Normally at 2 players, because it's just both of us playing the game. And then I get to see like, oh, does it have a good table presence? Does it have anything unique? If I think that it is like a really good game, I might then ask like, hey, can I take this home? Can I get a copy of it? I've had people that have just sent a copy home with me. I've had people like ship one afterward. But yeah, so if I get a copy of the game, I'll then start playing it at different player counts. I'll see if it's actually as good as I thought it was, because at conventions, you're not always at your best, especially like later on in the convention. So it'll be like, oh yeah, I thought this was really cool. And then I'll get home and then I'll play it and I'll be like, oh, this is not as cool as I thought, or the end game isn't as good as the beginning game. So there. Like, I'll see like, oh, yeah, is it an actual fit for me? Like, can I play this game again and again? And I really need to be able to play the game again and again, because I will have to like develop it into something that is an even better fit for my company. So, if I play the game and I'm like, I couldn't play this 100 times, I'll have to tell you no. But there's a little leeway in there too, because it's just because it's not a fit right now, I might tell a designer like, hey, you know, this isn't like perfect for me right now. What I'm looking for is more player interaction, or less take that, or shorter turns, something along those lines. And I typically try to give at least some point of feedback when I'm doing this, because another thing I really enjoy is actually working with a designer to make a game great. So if I give you a point of feedback, it would be great if you did something with it. For instance, I was getting a pitch from a certain designer, and I said something and they wrote it down. And I was like, whoa! He wrote it, well, I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, he's actually, like, he wants to remember what I said. That's great. He is taking feedback really well. He would probably be really cool to work with. Like, I'll sometimes just say, like, hey, what do you think about a retheme? How would you take that? If I don't have anything, like, specific up front that I want to, like, gauge your reaction on, just to see if you are willing to take feedback. Because taking feedback is just really important during the whole design process. If you're able to actually talk design during the pitch, that is amazing. Like, if I'm like, hey, you know, I don't really like this part about it, if that could be changed, and you have an idea, or you know, like, what you've done in the past that could work, and you say that, like, you're willing to, like, discuss the issue, that's also really cool, because if we have a good, like, back and forth, then I'll be more inclined to actually, like, sign your game so that we can work on it and make it something that Weird Draft Games would publish. Like, you know, because every game, like, I haven't come across any game that I've liked that I've been like, yes, this needs no development at all. And I assume that there's not that many games that actually don't need that much development to be made into something that's really, really specific for the publisher. Because every publisher should have a certain idea of what they want. So yeah. Oh, hey Dawson, thanks for watching. So yeah, let's go back to all the games that I've actually signed. These have all been games where I've met the designer at a convention or interacted with them at some point, and then I've met them again and they've pitched to me later on. If you go to conventions and just meet with publishers and treat them like people and become friends with them or help them out, play test games, something like that, that shows that you are a person in the community, that's fantastic. Like, just go out there, meet people, and then once you know them, you know, let's play a game. Because, like, everyone wants to, like, just go to a convention and play games with friends if they have time. For instance, I had one person volunteered for my booth at Origins. Like, I sent out a call and I was like, emergency, I need help at my booth right now. Please someone help. And he came up, he helped me, and then he showed up at the next convention and helped me there too. And it was like, yeah, of course I'll play your game. And then I was like, whoa, this is a great game. Like, let's sign it. And so, like, things can really happen like that. Like, it's just all about networking and stuff like that. Like, go and help people at conventions. Just give, like, a couple hours. And, like, in return, they might, like, well, they might just be friends with you. They might play games. They might, like, have you, like, meet other people that they know. Like, it's just really good to go out there and meet them. Another option, if you don't have conventions, is to be willing to Skype. And what I mean by that is to teach over Skype, because one thing that I really hate with taking pitches and getting games is learning the game. Like, I get a lot of games pitched to me, and if I'm like, oh, I do not want to read these rules because there's so many words and that takes so much time, and that's just not, my favorite thing is interpreting all these rules. You can just offer to Skype with them and teach them the game after that you've sent it to them. And that is, like, so much better than, forcing them to just read rules. Because, in my experience, the rules that are sent with a pitched game aren't the best. It'd be best if everyone did a lot of blind playtesting. Like, I understand that blind playtesting is hard. I mean, I do a lot of it, so I know it's hard, but you want the publisher to actually get the idea of your game, the actual idea of your game, by playing it. You don't want them to, like, misread a rule and then play a different game and then go like, hey, this is a terrible game. Like, this designer, like, just completely did not, like, give the proper idea of the game, so I'm not gonna, like, look at their other stuff. Like, that would be terrible for you if they just, like, discounted you because they read something wrong. But it's so easy to read something wrong or to see a typo or something like that. I know that I've done that in the past. Like, I've judged somebody because I got his game, I started playing it, and the rules were just like, whoa. And I was like, I need to do other things right now because reading these rules is not what I want to be doing. And I have shelved that game. Like, it's in my queue, and I just keep thinking about that time that I tried to read the rules, and it was hard, and I just stopped. And, like, I really want to get back to it, but then there's other games where the designers will be more willing to, like, just teach me it. At this point in my career, I want to get it taught to me because going and getting a pitch at a convention, like, that's 20 minutes, and I've actually played part of the game. But doing a print and play, like, I have to print it out, I have to cut it, I have to, like, sleeve it maybe, and then start reading the rules, and that's a lot to put on a publisher. So if you can make it easier, do that. Like, I know it costs money to, like, cut it all out yourself or get a copy made and ship that copy, but if it makes it easier for the publisher, if it gets your foot in the door, like, that is so much better. Like, forcing them to do a print and play and then, like, doing the rules on their own, like, maybe you'll get published, but maybe people will just be like, no, I'd rather just be taught the game. So yeah. Any other advice I have is, like, make sure, as I said, make sure you are pitching the right game to the right publisher. Make sure to treat them with respect, look into them, look into what they're looking for, try to, like, meet them places, like, interact with them online. Like, if you're on Twitter and they're on Twitter, follow them, maybe proofread their rules, or just, like, comment when they talk. Get to know them a little bit more, because this community, it's pretty small. Like, people know each other, so get in there, participate. If there's anything about you that would make you a better person for them to work with, tell them. Like, if you're on a podcast, be like, hey, I am John from this podcast. Or, like, say, like, if you're part of a good network, if you playtest a lot, that is really, really cool. Like, there are some designers that don't get to playtest that often, so you can set yourself, like, apart from them if you tell them, like, hey, I have a group and we playtest at least once a week. I like the sound of that because I like to iterate really fast. I like to get feedback and, like, try something out and see if it works so that the game gets really good really fast. So just find ways to differentiate yourself in that sort of way. So yeah, this is Cardboarding with Carla. If you have any topics you'd like to hear about, please either comment or get back to me. You can reach out to me at Weird Giraffes on Twitter or at contact@weirdgiraffegames.com. Thank you for watching.